Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a review of the tier 10 British tank destroyer, the FV215B 183. So this tank is an absolute beast. Yet again, is probably one of the most feared tanks to be on this game, really. It's one of the things you see when you're driving around, even if you're a knee 100 or a mouse with something stupid amount of hit points. You see it and you go, oh shit, because it can nearly one-shot you, which is always fun. So let's talk a little bit about the tank first. This is my most recent addition to my tier 10s, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I've played around 52 games in it so far. And I've been having a great time while playing it. So, as we can see, this proposed heavy tank destroyer utilised components of the Mark II Conqueror. The vehicle featured the gun in a rear-mounted oscillating turret, but the project was cancelled shortly after a dummy vehicle was built. And boy, it was lucky that this thing weren't fucking built, because other tanks of that time would have just been absolutely shat on. So, the main thing about this tank really is the gun. That's the only thing that anyone really cares about in this thing, is the gun, and its HESH shells that it can fire. So, let's have a quick look into these stats as we usually do. So we can see 2,000 hit points, which isn't too bad at all, really. Does allow you to take a few hits. Obviously, you don't want to be sat out in front of another Death Star, because it will one-shot you. You don't want to be sat out in front of tank destroyers and stuff like that, because they will butter your armour, really, and just you won't have a good time. But that's the same with every other tank, so just try and keep hidden as it is a tank destroyer. Stay back is what I would recommend. So take a quick look into the engine. We have 800 horsepower, which is alright. It's not too bad. Gives it a power to weight ratio of 13.33 horsepower per ton, which is not too bad, really. It is fairly sluggish, but the terrain resistances aren't too bad, so you won't find yourself in a lot of trouble when trying to manoeuvre around the battlefield. Just be aware, due to the low top speed of 34 kilometers an hour, if you do go to one flank and your other flank falls, you might not be able to get back in time just because of that limited top speed. Reverse speed, 12 kilometers an hour. Not bad. Well, it is bad, honestly. But obviously it is only a reverse. You're not going to be going anywhere in reverse in this. And a 20% fire chance, which is, honestly, it feels like a lot more than that. I get set on fire stupid amounts in this tank. Definitely carry a fire extinguisher. Definitely want firefighting on your crew. So definitely that is something to look out for. So, taking a look at the ammunition quickly, we're going to look at the gun last, as that is the best thing about this tank. So, as we can see, the 2 rounds of ammunition here, which are the standard rounds, you get armor piercing and you get high explosive. However, you also get a premium high explosive shell, which is HESH. So armor piercing rounds, you have 310mm of penetration with armor piercing, which is absolutely fantastic. It's the highest penetration of any AP round in the game that is not on artillery. You're not going to have troubles penetrating anything in this tank. If you do, sort yourself out. You shouldn't be. Simple as. So, shell velocity, 830 meters, not very good. This tank is one thing. When I first got this, I did have a bit of trouble trying to lead my targets. But now, once you get used to it, you'll be fine at hitting targets on the move, so you don't need to worry. You can see there, the shells can range from 863 damage to 1,438, with an average damage of 1,150. So, big monstrous alpha. You don't want to get hit by this really at all, so try not to be. With the high explosive there, you can see as well, it has around, I think it was about 90 something. I'm going to have a quick look so I don't mess it all up. 92mm of penetration on its standard high explosive shells, which also have a shell velocity of 830 meters, have a splash radius of 5 meters, and can roll up to 2,188. Obviously, that is the standard HE. You're not really going to want to be firing that when you can fire. You can fire these bad boys, these high explosive squash-headed ammunition, the HESH rounds, which cost a whopping 8,000 credits per shell. Oh my god, what is that ammo loadout? Good god. Okay, let me just change that really quick. That was absolutely atrocious. Actually, that's a bit bad as well. Okay, let's do that. So, HESH rounds. Stupid. They got nerfed the hell out of on PC. we have 275mm of penetration on a high explosive shell, which can do 2,188 damage, which is absolutely absurd. 1,750 alpha. Don't get shot, and you're going to get penned by it as well, so just don't get shot. If you are being shot by this thing, please, it sounds stupid, but it is sometimes better to show your side to it, just because of the low accuracy of the gun, 0.4, and the bad aiming time. If they hit the tracks, they're going to do less damage, because high explosive shells explode on impact. Hit your tracks, you're going to take around 700 damage normally, rather than taking around 1,800 up to 2,100. So it's always better to do that. If you can take the lower number, take the lower number. So the radio right here, 750 signal range, not going to have any troubles. Turret traverse 16 degrees with a view range of 390 meters. The view range is alright, it's not too bad, it's not as good as the FV215B or the Pattern or anything like that, but you're not really going to have too much troubles. If you want to spot for yourself, whack binoculars on, whack coated optics on, and you'll get it up to that 400 meters that you want. A little bit higher. 16 degrees rotation speed though is not very good. Light tanks and stuff like that circling you will give you a lot of trouble. This gun does have a lot of traverse. It can traverse about 45 degrees each way. Gives it a total traverse of around 90 degrees, around that anyway. But the sidearm is absolute paper, so just be really careful of things getting beside you. The tracks, 32 degrees a second. Combining that with the 16 degrees of turret traverse, you can spin it around quite quickly to engage targets that are trying to circle you. The best thing you can do is to put your arse up against the wall so they can't get behind you and circle you that way. And then you can use the nice gun traverse to whack your gun around and absolutely slap them. So the gun, the best thing about this tank, we can see there. You get 2 rounds a minute. It's a bit shit, to be honest, I'm not going to lie to you. 30-second reload time with my equipment and crew. I get my reload down to about 25 seconds, which honestly isn't too bad for a gun that can do this much alpha damage. Aiming time 3.4 seconds, awful. Put a gun laying drive, put vents, get your crew skills on, stuff like that. That's going to help with the aiming time. Accuracy as well, 0.4, which is not good at all. Honestly, when you do fire HESH shells, your HESH costs 8,000 a shell, as we saw. So if you are firing HESH and you do miss a shot, which can also be very bad because this tank does only carry 12 rounds of ammunition. Yes, 12, which does limit your damage a little bit, but it doesn't really matter when you can be hitting things for 2,000 damage, so it doesn't really matter. But obviously 12 shells you don't want to be missing. The reload as well, you don't really want to be missing, but the accuracy and the aiming time does sometimes mean that you do miss your shots, and when you do, your wallet's going to be broken a little bit. So, elevation 15 degrees, it's a lot better than the other tier 10 British tank destroyer counterpart, the FV405, which is also nicknamed the shit barn, because I think it is a lot worse than this thing. If you go for the FV405, I think you're a bit stupid. But that is only while it hasn't been buffed, like it will be getting on PC. Once it get buffed, go for it. Get that thing instead of this. But the FV405 has 8 degrees of elevation, I think it is, which is not good at all. Won't be able to shoot things above you, really. But the elevation on this, 15 degrees, which is quite nice indeed. Does allow you to shoot up at your tank, at tanks opposite you and stuff like that on hills. Elevation, depression, 5 degrees. Again, quite nice. You're not really going to worry. It is rear mounted. There's not going to be many places you can use your gun depression, just because the turret is rear mounted, so it doesn't really make that much of an issue, to be honest. The turret armor on this tank is pretty damn good, but with it being rear mounted and with you only having 5 degrees of gun depression, you can't really use it. But if you can find somewhere to cover your lower plate, the frontal armor of this tank can be quite strong, so if you can do that, I would definitely recommend it. So, also, something I forgot to mention, as we can see, the turret is rear mounted, which means you can side scrape in this tank. Same as if you watched my FV215B review. That little corner patch there is weaker, but it is less slope. So when you are side scrape at an angle like that. If you side scrape more than this, you're going to get penned in the sides. So if you can, keep it as tight as you can, like that. If not, like that. But just be aware, the armour is 31 to 50 millimeters. So if you are fighting another Death Star, Jagdpanzer, any really big tier 10 TD gun, E100 stuff like that, they're going to overmatch the side. So just be very careful when you are side scraping. So a little bit more, take a little bit more in-depth look at the armour. We have 1 to 20 millimeters on these side skirts, which do count as spaced armour, as you can see there, and on the bottom of the tank as well. When we have 21 to 30 millimeters on the track, the tracks in this tank, you do get tracked really easily. Just be careful. 31 to 50 millimeters on the sides of the tank and the back of the turret. As I said before, the side armor is absolute paper, as well as the back of the turret. So if you are, especially behind this tank, load high explosive and shoot the back of the turret. Don't shoot the back of the hull because it is actually quite thick, and you have a lot better chance penetrating the back of the turret than you do the back of the hull. So we have 71 to 90 millimeters, sorry, on the lower plate and that back of the tank. So as I said, if you are going to fire high explosive at this thing, hit it in the back of the turret or the sides. Don't shoot at the back as it is a lot thicker. The lower plate on this tank is stupidly thin. Just don't show it. If you can cover it, cover it. I've had countless amounts of time, like people have penned me through the lower plate of high explosive and stuff like that before, and it is not what you want. So just be very careful. Then we have 91 to 120 millimeters on the sides of the turret there and the side of the cupola, which is actually hidden by the kind of viewport bit there. So next we have 160 to 121 millimeters of armor for the upper plate and the top of the turret there, and for the other cupola on the other side. So the upper plate on this tank, it's fairly thick. I wouldn't rely on it really. It's not as thick as the FV215Bs. It's around 250 millimeters of effective armor. Once you do start angling and side scraping like that, it does become a little bit more effective, but it's always best if you can just to try and cover it. That's what I like to do anyway, because it can still be penetrated by most things. So top of the turret as well, as you can see, they're just above the gun. This tank doesn't have a gun mantlet. So what armor figures you see is what you're going to get really. There, when you look at it like that, it's about an effective armor about 258 millimeters. So if you have got a nice high pen gun, sure, go for that, penetrate that. If you are using your 5 degrees of gun depression, which is around here, that top of the turret does become very strong, so I would not recommend shooting it. So next we have 161 to 190 millimeters on the side of the turret here. As you can see, at a very steep angle, you're not going to penetrate that frontally. Don't bother. So 191 to 230 millimeters on this flat bar on top and the sides of the turret there. The sides of the turret next to the guns, you're not going to pen. Good luck on them slope bits. That is mega slope, just going to be an auto bounce. This flat part on top of the tank is fairly frustrating. Once you are using your gun depression, it does make them a little bit harder to penetrate. It does increase the angle a little bit. As you can see, there is a little bit of a slope there on top of it. So if you are using your gun depression, it does make it a little bit harder to hit and a little bit harder to penetrate. But just be aware that is a flat spot, so if you are in front of the tank, shoot there and you're most likely going to pen if you have around 235 millimeters of penetration. Next we have 254 millimeters on this dark red part here. Again, the lower part of it is quite sloped. Depending on where you hit it, you might ricochet, you might not. If you hit it just next to the guns in that flat part, you might penetrate. If you have around 260, 270 millimeters of penetration, that is what you're going to need to reliably go through the front cheeks of this tank. So overall from the armour, we can see that it's fairly decent frontally. Side and backs, obviously butter, you don't want to be showing that. To be honest, in this tank I do like to brawl. That is one thing that I really do like to do in this tank. I like to be up in their faces and slap heavy tanks for all their health sometimes. E5s and stuff like that love being one-shotted, so just keep an eye out for that. If you are driving one of these things and there's an T110 E5 and stuff like that, yeah, you can one-shot them. So before we look at my equipment and stuff like that and get some gameplay, I am going to be just telling you a little bit about the grind. So we're going to take a quick look, obviously, at the grind for the tank. I didn't enjoy the grind at all, to be honest, at all. So we'll start off at tier 3, where you start with the Valentine AT. It's a bit shit, really. Nothing really we could say there. Then we get to the Electo, which is quite a fun little tank, very hard to spot, quite nippy, gets a nice, what gun is that, 25 pounder howitzer, which is also quite nice. Then you get to the 82, which is very slow, very heavily armoured, with a quite nice rapid fire 6 pounder gun. Then you get to the 88, which is frankly just a bit poor, to be honest, very slow again, the armour's not great either. Then you get to the 87, which is a bit better. You get the 20 pounder gun this time, type A barrel, with quite nice DPM. But you also get this horrible kind of tumour on top of the tank, as you do on the 82, the 88, and you will do on the AT-15, as we can see. But it's still not as big as it is on the Tortoise. AT-15, again, quite a nice tank, not too bad at all. Never got honestly, I 3xp'd this thing. I played it on my other account, so don't have a go at me. But you get really nice DPM on this top gun, the 20 pounder type B barrel. You get quite nice DPM on that, and the armour does do okay at long range. Then you get to this thing, the Tortoise, very, very slow again, decent armour from long range. Once you start getting up front, it's absolute trash. But as you can see there, the cupola, absolutely awful. That is the biggest and most annoying thing about this tank, is that cupola. But it gets a very, very nice 120mm anti-tank gun, which has the highest DPM of any tank in the game. Fires every like 5.8 seconds or something stupid, with 400 alpha damage, good accuracy, good aiming time, good pen damage, all that good stuff. So if you love DPM, it just wasn't a tank for me really. And then you get to the beast itself, the FV215B 183. So the grind, not too good. The tier 10 is definitely worth it though. It's definitely good fun, so I would recommend going for it if you can. So we'll take a quick look at the ammo and stuff I carry. I carry 2 armor piercing shells and 10 HESH shells. Take a look at the shell cost, 8,000 with HESH shells. If you do choose to fire pretty much all HESH, you're going to lose money really. If you miss one shot, that's 8,000 credits down the drain, so just be careful. Manual fire extinguisher, small first aid kit and a small repair kit, just because I don't like to take large consumables. I might switch out the manual fire extinguisher for a automatic one, just because, as I said before, the fire chance of 20% isn't very good, and you do find yourself getting set on fire quite a bit, so just be very, very careful. I wouldn't bother carrying any standard HE, just carry HESH and armor piercing. The armor piercing rounds are fantastic on this thing. 310 penetration. As I said, you're not really going to bounce anything. If you do, seek help. So anyway guys, I think that is enough for the garage review of the FV215B, aka the Death Star. So we're going to come back when we have some gameplay for you. Hello guys, so we are back in our first game. The map is Airfield, standard battle. I am joined by my friend Always the One and my other friend Era Bailey. One in the M46 pattern, one in the Object 268. So as you can see there, my ammo loadout is switched up a little bit. 8 HESH shells, 4 armoured piercing shells. So in this thing, as I stated in the garage, I like to be quite up front with it and just show everyone what this thing is about. It is quite frustrating when you hit tanks in the track and it does like 500 damage. It is quite annoying seeing as you spend 8,000 credits per shot, but when you do hit them one shots and you do hit tanks for stupid amounts, it is very, very satisfying indeed, as you will see from the replays that I have for you guys. So this thing, you can see now the mobility of it. It's keeping its top speed on medium terrain. It's doing alright. We're just going to push up into position here. We see a T49, we can see the aiming time. Can we get a shot off? Like that. That is one of the annoying moments when you hit a light tank with no armor, 500 damage. Now that is just so frustrating to me. But that's our first damaging ribbon of the game. So we can see artillery's trying to home in on us already. This thing, if you get hit in the side, you can pretty much get one-shotted in artillery pretty much all the time due to the weak side armour and the weak top armour of the tank. So that is something to be very, very careful of. You can see there, we can see the T30 over there. We're aiming. That thing's got 1,650 hit points. We aim, we fire. Dead. Pretty much one-shotted him there. And you can just see that it is just so satisfying being able to hit tanks for that much damage, and we've knocked out a very, very dangerous tier 9 American tank destroyer out of the battle nice and early, which is always helpful. You can see the reload time now, very, very long. So we're going to push up a little bit. We see the Jagdpanzer. He ricochets off our turret, and we push up, see if we can get a nice shot onto him. We're aiming. Can we penetrate? And we hit the floor. 8,000 credits down the drain. That's the low accuracy and the low aim time. You couldn't really blame the gun for that though, to be honest. That was me just trying to snap a ship. Sorry, I can't speak. Me just trying to snap a quick shot in there, and unfortunately it didn't do us too well. So, see now we're nearly reloaded again. We can see the Panzer 7 up here. We're going to try and put a shot into him. As you can see there, our gun depression is failing us a little bit. So we try to go up there. And you can see now my lower plate is absolutely just shown at the moment. But we push up. Can we penetrate him? Aim for the little side boob. 1,824 damage done. And can our good friend Era Bailey pick up the kill, can he? No, hits his track. And then dodges a shell from the artillery. So as you can see, there's another huge round into that tank there. This was a very nice high damage game here. So we're reloading in 4 seconds. Can we take out the Jagdpanzer E100? Can we? Penetrate. Very low roll there for this gun. 1,350 damage. To the side with a penetration to the Jagdpanzer Z100 superstructure. That was quite annoying as well, really. Don't know how we didn't. That was a very, very low roll for this gun. Sorry, it should have been a lot higher. This Panzer 7 somehow still alive. No one's finished him off, so I decided, you know what? It's going to be a bit of a waste of a shell of a Hesh round. He's got about 180 hit points left, but we've got to get rid of him really. So I decided to push up and just extinguish him. So we see if we can get a shot into the FV215B, can we? So the turret, 1,600 damage done. Death Star got Death Starred. Another very, very dangerous tank taken out of the game. So as you can see now, 5 damages, but each of those damages have pretty much been above 1,000 damage. So you can see now the low ammo count of this tank doesn't really matter when you can do stupid amounts of damage. So this Panzer 7 now, I decided I need to get rid of him. Jump down the cliff. Bit risky, straight into his bum, 280 damage, take him out of the game. As you can see there, Era Bailey dove off a cliff and suicided. So now we can see the back of the chieftain. At this point I'm just hoping, please stop, please stop. Yes, he's stopping. Can I reload in time to get a quick shot off? Is it possible? We aim for the cupola. Hit his cupola for 730, and you can see now we're out of Hesh shells, so it's back to our armour piercing rounds. So as you can see, 7 penetrations and 3 kills. To be honest, this game is quite a lot of damage for 7 penetrations, seeing as they were all about 1,000 each or so, if not a bit under. But this thing just racks up damage so nicely, and against things like Type 4 and Type 5 heavies, 310 penetration, you're not going to bounce them. If you can hit them dead and in the front, it's going to penetrate, as you're going to see by when I absolutely butter this Type 4's armour. Take a shot in the side from the chieftain. This is a bit risky for me, I shouldn't really have pushed out. You can see there, hitting for 28 damage, which is not good at all. So after that, anyway, we're pushing for the chieftain. Might be able to get a kill shot off if we're lucky. 3 armour piercing rounds left. So we're pushing, might be able to get the shot off. We're aiming, 4 seconds left, and he gets taken out, unfortunately. So GG, 4 kills, 7 penetrations. Couldn't have asked for a better score, really. So 17,000 first class, 7,800 damage, 1,300 blocked, and 1,300 assisted. So a fairly decent game in the old FV215B 183. Let's head right into our second game. So guys, we are back for our second replay of the review. The map is Port, and it is a team destruction. So this map is one of my favourite maps at the moment. I think it's been made very, very well indeed. This was my ace tanker, my first ace tanker I ever got in this tank. So it is quite a nice game I did have. So, as we can see, this time I'm playing with Always. I'm playing with my other friend Daz and my other friend Greenie as well. One in the Waffenträger, one in the M53-55, and one in the 212A. So 2 very dangerous tank destroyers and 2 very dangerous artillery pieces in a platoon. So, I'm going to push up to one of my favourite locations of this map. So as you can see, still got the same ammunition loadout. This is the ammo loadout I normally take when I play this vehicle. But honestly, this thing is absolutely fantastic. If you have a bit of time on your hands and you don't mind grinding, I would say I definitely would recommend going for this thing. It's absolutely fantastic. It's so much fun to play. So if you are looking for a good fun tank, and you have a bit of silver, so you don't mind losing some money, and you just want a good laugh, definitely pick one of these up, or the FV215, just because that massive gun. I know this tank is being removed on the PC and being replaced with the FV201 Badger, and I to be honest, I hope we do get that tank as well. I am quite interested in the Badger. I'm going to have to give it a go on the PC if I can get my hands on one. So, but also another thing I want to say as well, I like the way that we do it on console instead of PC. So on PC, when they get rid of tanks, so they obviously got rid of the Waffenträger on PC and replaced it with the Grill A15, and they're getting rid of this tank, the FV215B, and replacing it with the Badger. But with this tank, you're going to be able to keep it on PC if you do get one. So don't worry, you'll keep it as a reward vehicle. However, the Waffenträger, was removed and gone for good now on the PC version. But if you do that on this, instead of taking the tank away, they just add another tier 10 tank, which I think is a better way of doing it really, so you can have kind of all of them. So I'm hoping when they do add the Badger to console, which should be next year sometime, we are hoping, we should be able to keep the Death Star as well and just be able to make another tier 10. So as we can see, first shot of the game, we're aiming, Tortoise, just absolutely huge, aiming for his cupola, but instead he shows us his side. So 1,899 damage to that tier 9 British tank destroyer. He got a bit of a hesh there, didn't he? He's probably looking forward to getting this thing, as was I when I was playing the Tortoise. So I'm pushing out. So we've fired one shot already. Done a very nice amount of damage, nearly 2,000 damage with one shot there, which is just stupidly satisfying. So as we can see, we are losing 3-2 at the present moment. Forgot that wasn't destructible, crashing into everything. So I'm going to try and get a shot back. As you can see, their whole team went one way, so I'm going to try and get a shot on. As we can see, there's a VK there. Can I aim in time to get a shot off? Nope. Is he going to shoot me? He ricochets. We don't get the chance to get a shot off at him. As you can see there, we do lose our M53-55 there to the Jagdtiger, which is not good. So we're going to push back in and see if we can do as much damage as possible and just try and help fight off all of these tanks. That poor Type 4 Heavy, we are trying to come and help him. We just didn't expect the whole team to lemming train this way, and yeah. So that artillery, there's going to be some funny moments with that artillery in a bit, so just keep an eye out for him. So Panther 2, as you can see, that's very frustrating. Hit his tracks, do 800 damage and don't kill him, which is very frustrating. As you can see there, he damages our tracks. And we're going for the ram. Can we finish him with a ram? I look to see if the artillery's there, as he is just behind that corner waiting for us to come out so he can pick us off. T-54, what about him? Can we kill him? Is it possible? Can we? Reload. Aim for his ass. 1,650. One-shotting him. Now we see that Emil 2 unloading into our back. The ammo rack in this tank is located in the back of the turret. As you can see, he was trying to aim for there to keep like detonator ammo rack. We're trying to fall back now, as I know I'm in a bit of a tricky spot here. It's me versus all of them enemy tanks there, pretty much by myself. So So I've got 5 seconds to reload again, and we're ready to dish out some more pain. So as you can see, 2 monstrous shots already so far in this game. So we can see that artillery. There is some very funny moments for me and this guy. As you can see, he's aiming. I know he's there. If I go round, he probably will one-shot me just because the very weak sidearm of his tank. So he's back. Bit of a waste there for a Hess shell. 264 damage done to the VK4502A. As you can see, he comes around the corner, tries to shotgun us, and he falls back. So that is going to be his first shotgun of the game on me. Fair play to him. He knew what he was doing. He was trying to hide. He knew when I was firing, so he could come out and try and get a very sneaky shot off at me. I come around the corner to 57 heavy. Can we penetrate? 1,590 damage done to the tier 10 American auto-loading heavy tank. So we're on a reload again. 15 seconds left. You can see we've lost both of our artilleries now, unfortunately. It's just me and Greenie left alive. So again, reloading. We can see that artillery. I want someone to take him out, but now we've lost Greenie as well. The odds are looking very slim for me now. We have got a heavy tank pushing in with us. So, is he going to come out? Is he going to want to take a shot? Yag Tiger, can we take him out? 1,055 damage, and we take him out. So as you can see, that artillery's coming now. Oh god, here he comes, and another shotgun just missed. There's going to be another one of them coming up a bit later, so pay attention for that. So I know he's got a very long reload, so I go, do you know what, I'm going to balls it and just go out and try and shoot something here. So I go for the 57 heavy, finish him off 655, and I can see that artillery's coming up behind me on the map, so I'm like, oh shit, run. So I try and get myself into this corner. He's got my arse here, trying to spin it around. Is he going to kill me? Is he? No, he luckily hits the floor and doesn't hit my side armour, allowing us to reload. As you can see now, it's a battle. It's a battle of me and the old M40, M43. I'm pretty sure I sent him a message after this, just saying, lol, GG. So he knows here, he knows he's screwed. Take him out. Oh, fair play to that guy, fair play. So as you can see, 8 penetrations and 5 kills, and it's GG for us. Very good game, this one. So, as you can see, 25,000 silver. We've got our mastery badge, 8,500 damage, 640 blocked, 130 assisted. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this FV215B 183 review. Please like, comment and subscribe. And don't forget to comment down below for which tank you would like to see next. Thank you. It's been Error, and I'm out.